Hello and welcome back. For our today's example, we have some sample data frame which we converted from a PDF to Excel. So let me open up the Excel file and let's take a quick look. A quick look at the sales column reveals that we have some amounts in there which have USD, or you can see dollar sign, or we even have rupees sign with it. Will this cause a problem with Python Pandas data frame? Let's find out. I have my Jupyter notebook set up within VS Code. It's much easier to work through. So let's import our Pandas data frame and let's load our file in our data frame. Let's run it. See the ugly column names in capitals? Let's fix those. We use list comprehension to convert them to lowercase. So list comprehension is very similar to a for loop. So basically from here, so it says for x in df.columns. This is the same as in for loop. And then we have the action that we need to be performed on it. So we want the value to be lowered for each of these values in df.columns. So let's say, just for testing purposes, let me copy and paste this loop here and we say x, and you can see it loops through each of the columns and print the column names in each of the loop. Let me remove this and let's run our list comprehension and do a data frame head as well, just to make sure it works. And you can see now our column names are in lower format and much easier on the eyes. As a good practice, always review column types to get a feel of what you're working with. So let's do that by using df.dtypes. As expected, our sales column is an object data type, which is what Python Pandas assigns when it gets a mixed column type. Let's say we try adding a new column, which is simply the sales column multiplied by 5% to arrive at text. Too many texts these days, am I right? So let's add the new column. Adding a new column in Python Pandas is very simple. We just add the data frame name and then the new column within square brackets and double quotes or single quotes. And then we define our calculation, which will simply be sales column into 0.5. Run the code, and as expected we get a type error, which essentially says that we cannot multiply a non-integer of type float. Now let's try to isolate the issue and figure out the problematic amount. We can use filtering with string and contains, so let's do that. So anytime you're applying a string function to a column, you will need to add .str in it. Then we give it the criteria. Now we wrap all of this inside of the data frame and let's run it. And we can see it filters us only those lines which have strange looking values like USD, these two dollar signs here. We even have rupees, and then there's rupees with a dot as well. Here in our code, we have used regular expression to filter all those values which are not numeric. We do that by using capital D. Small d filters all those lines which are numeric. Now that we know our issue, let's try a simple function to replace these values with blanks. We basically want to remove the values, the one from here to here, and then the dollar sign, then rupees, with a blank value. So let's do that. We write our simple function. So this is a very basic function. Let's try replacing dollar sign first. We can simply chain multiple replace statements with symbols we need fixing. So let's add others as well. Run this again. And now let's apply this to our sales column. Run it. We get an attribute error which says int object has no attribute replace. So the problem is that the function is trying to replace values in integers as well, which will not work because the replace does not work on integers. It can only work on string. So we need to modify our function and add an if statement to make the replace only work on string values. We will use is instance to check if the current value is string. If true, then do the replacing, else just return the original value. So let's modify our function. So what's saying is that if the instance or the current value is string, then we do these replacements, else we just return x. Run this. Function ran. Let's now work on this. Okay, seems like it ran fine. So let's just check df top 5 rows using head method. Okay, seems like our column has been fixed. Now let's try adding the text column again. Let me just copy and paste it. I'm just gonna add a head here as well. Says can't multiply a sequence by a non-integer of type float. Okay, I think we will need to add a float here as well. So as soon as it fixes this replacements, it converts it to a float as well. So let's do that. Run this again, and now let's test it, and boom. And we have successfully fixed our sales column and added a text column as well. Now that we have achieved our goal, let's see if we can refine our code a bit. Looking at our function, we can see that there are many repetitions and it seems very redundant. We can improve our function using sub from regular expression. So let's do that. I'm just going to comment this out, add a new block here. I'm going to import regular expressions, and then we write our new function. So what it's doing is it's using regular expressions sub method, that is substitute, In square brackets, it is defining all of those values that need to be substituted. It will be substituted with a blank value and it will work on the X value. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to clear all outputs and run all of the code again. I'm going to comment this out because this is going to create an error. Run all. And you can see our new function works as well. And our final data frame has a sales column fixed and a text column added as well. Great. This wraps up the video. I hope you had fun and learned something new. If you like the content, support the channel by liking and watching my other videos as well. If you have any topics you want me to cover, add them in the comment section below. Till next time, happy coding.